Have you ever wondered what happened to two young princes who simply disappeared? No goodbye, no escape story, no witnesses, just a mystery that has lasted for more than 500 years. This is the story of the Princes in the Tower, one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in British history. Our story begins in England in the year 1483. England was a dangerous place. Powerful families fought for the throne, kings rose and fell. Trust was rare, and ambition could be deadly. At the center of this story was King Edward IV. He had ruled England for many years and seemed strong and successful. But in April 1483, everything changed. The king suddenly died. His death shocked the nation. His eldest son, Edward, was only 12 years old. As the king's oldest son, he was expected to become the next king of England. People called him Edward V, but because he was still a child, adults around him would control the kingdom until he was old enough to rule. One of the most important people in his life was his uncle, Richard, Duke of Gloucester. Richard was known as a skilled soldier and a loyal brother to the late king. Many people trusted him. At first, everything seemed normal. Young Edward began traveling to London for his coronation. A coronation is the ceremony where a new king officially receives the crown. People expected a celebration. Instead, strange events began to unfold. Richard met the young prince on the road. Soon afterward, several of the prince's supporters were arrested. Some were even executed. The prince was then taken to the Tower of London. Today, the Tower is a famous tourist attraction, but in the 1400s, it was also a royal residence and a prison. At first, nobody thought this was unusual. Future kings often stayed there before being crowned. But then another surprise came. Edward's younger brother, Richard, Duke of York, was brought to the Tower as well. Now both princes were living there together. People saw them walking around the grounds. Witnesses reported seeing the boys playing and talking. Everything seemed calm. Then, little by little, they were seen less often. The sightings became rare. Eventually, they stopped completely. The two boys had vanished. No official announcement was made. No explanation was given. The princes simply disappeared from public view. Meanwhile, Richard made a shocking move. He claimed that the marriage of Edward IV had not been legal. If the marriage was not legal, then the princes were not legitimate heirs to the throne. This meant Edward V could not become king. Richard was crowned King Richard III. Many people immediately became suspicious. The timing seemed too convenient. The princes disappeared, and their uncle became king. Rumors spread across England. People whispered in markets. They talked in taverns. They discussed it in castles and churches. What had happened to the boys? Some believed they had been murdered. Others thought they had been secretly moved somewhere else. But nobody knew the truth. Years passed. Then decades. Then centuries. The mystery only grew. Many historians believe Richard III had the strongest motive. As long as the princes were alive, they represented a threat to his rule. People loyal to the boys might try to place them on the throne. Removing them would make Richard's position much safer, but there is a problem. There is no direct proof. No written confession has ever been found. No reliable witness ever described the murders. No official record explains what happened. Because of this, some historians think another person may have been responsible. One possible suspect was Henry Tudor. Henry later became King Henry VII. He defeated Richard III in battle and took the English crown. If the princes were still alive, they could also threaten Henry's claim to the throne. Some people wonder if supporters of Henry might have removed the princes. Others point to powerful nobles who wanted more influence. The truth remains hidden. Then something strange happened almost 200 years later. In 1674, workers were renovating part of the Tower of London. While digging beneath a staircase, they discovered a wooden box. Inside were the bones of two children. The discovery shocked everyone. Could these be the missing princes? Many people believed so. The bones were treated with great respect. They were eventually buried in Westminster Abbey. For centuries, visitors looked at the tomb and wondered whether England's greatest mystery had finally been solved, but there was still a problem. No one could prove the bones belonged to the princes. Technology in the 1600s was very limited. People could only guess. In modern times, scientists have examined the evidence. However, the mystery remains unsolved. Some experts believe the bones could belong to the princes. Others argue they might belong to completely different children. Without more testing, nobody can say for certain. The story became even more complicated when another discovery was made. In 1789, workers found additional child-sized bones in the tower. Again, questions appeared. Could these be connected to the missing boys, or was it just a coincidence? Nobody knows. the mystery continues to fascinate historians today. Books have been written about it, documentaries have explored it, researchers continue searching for clues, every generation asks the same question: what happened to Edward V and his younger brother? Were they murdered in secret? Did they die from illness? Were they smuggled out of the tower and hidden away? Could one of them have survived? The answers may have been lost forever. That is what makes this story so fascinating. Most mysteries are eventually solved, a criminal is caught, evidence is discovered, the truth comes out, but not this one. For more than 5 centuries, the disappearance of 2 young princes